Good morning, everyone. We're very happy to have you here with us. And today I'm very excited to host a very good friend of mine and a very special person, Tariq Nassar. Tarek is an architect and an urban planner, and he is the founder of and director of Sinsila Community Center, which he will tell us very broadly about. Tarek, I'm very happy to have you here. I'm very excited for this
Really,
conversation.
I'm really happy to be with you as well, Anat. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for coming. You have a lot of things to tell us. So please tell us about yourself and about the amazing things that you're doing.
Uh, uh, I'm from Jerusalem. I was born, raised inside the old city, to be honest, as well. And I think a little bit I was like nerdy in order to get my degrees. So I got a bachelor, and then I did two master's degree in architecture and urban planning with sustainability issues. And I was focusing in urban planning and sustainability. So yeah, I came back like 11 years ago from Germany, and I have been doing a lot in Jerusalem in general and outside Jerusalem as well, like focusing on urban planning. I work as a freelance for community public participation on planning in East Jerusalem, which is very tough topic with the municipality and with other bodies as well. And 5 or 6 years ago, I started to, with a friend of mine from Muslala NGO, to establish something called Sinsilela now, which is a model that heal urban environments of cities, especially with areas missing planning and has a lot of informalities and missing, let's say, basic things inside the city. So yeah, Sinsila, it's really like working on healing those areas by adding layers, either horizontal or vertical, but you add those layers with the different community sectors. So students, women, elderly women, youth at risk, so different community sector, kindergartens, but you add this layer with different tools, let's say.
So
So it's a
Sinsila basically is a community center, and you're doing community work about the public sphere. What kind of work do you do with them? What is this layer that you're talking about?
It's really, I think Sinsila, it's not really a community center by definition. It's a laboratory, let's say, that we try to find local sustainable solutions to solve real problems that exist within urban areas, especially in Arab sector, let's say, in Israel and in East Jerusalem in particular, to be honest, which is East Jerusalem has a lot of political dimensions, so it's much harder to do rather than do it in Arab Israeli cities inside 1948 line. I'm sorry, what was the question for
Oh,
again?
so you answered the question, but you kind of gave it for me for another one because you said you're looking for solutions for problems. So if you can give us examples for solutions to a problem or to problems that you found.
For example, in Arab urban areas, we're missing planning for decades, let's say, master planning and different levels of planning. So the consequences of missing such a important thing, let's say, we have lack of public open spaces, lack of public buildings, lack of areas designated for even public usages, let's say. So, and at the same time, we have this kind of informal urban dance in those neighborhoods, especially in East Jerusalem. So the solution on the long term, it's really like a classical urban planning, like Tikhnun, which is you need to demolish and rebuild areas in order really to solve those issues, which is a very long term
And
solution.
expensive.
It's very expensive, and beside the political challenges that exist with land ownership, especially in Arab sector in general, not just in East Jerusalem, and all over Israel, we have a problem of land ownership in Arab sector, which is called tapo for the land. And so there is no investors or Yazam will come and do binui binui to build and rebuild areas if there is no proper land registration. So in the short and medium long-term interventions that the idea of Sinsala came, okay, we're missing public open spaces. Maybe we can apply the topic of the approach of placemaking, which is started in New York a couple of decades ago, like finding those neglected spaces in the neighborhoods and turning into a public place, which is full of life, revitalizing those spaces. So this is a layer you add on the ground within the neighborhoods, placemaking. So you can do it with different communities, and you find those
Can you maybe just say a word about what is placemaking if people don't know what it is?
Placemaking, it's by our definition, like it's an international thing that started in New York, as I said before. It's changing spaces without life and functions into a place full of life and functions. Mainly, it's supposed to be public usages, let's say. In East Jerusalem, we reached to 3 levels of placemaking, which is pure public. People, they can access those places 24/7, or even semi-public. So we did a lot of placemaking even in public buildings, for example, in schools, yards, communities yards as well. All these, like semi-public, somebody closed the door at, let's say, whatever, like 6 p.m. And we reach even to a placemaking on the private level through the Woman Bees project. Women, they have roofs, empty roofs, unemployed, and they can just put their hives, or they can do urban farming on the roof. So in a way, it's a placemaking on a private level as well. So changing those neglected spaces in the urban areas into places full of life.
Yeah, so it sounds very much like it's like 2 layers, maybe it's different layers that you're talking about. It's both your solution for environmental issue, for not having any open land or places for the public to be, but also for a social problem, for people not to have a place to hang out together or meet. So can you speak more about the bee project, or maybe one of the projects that you found that were very much successful for you?
The Woman Bees project started in 2019. It was the idea of, I met Yossi Oud. He's one of the bees ambassador with Matan, friend of mine of Muslala, in 2019. And they were like, bees, he was interested in saving bees. I was not really interested in saving bees. I'm an architect, so I don't really know that much about bees at that time. And I was like,
and also you're allergic, so you really don't care about them.
I'm allergic as well. So I was like, so my question was to Yossi, I remember, how many kilograms you can produce? Can you put the hives on the roofs? And we linked this idea to the woman sector in East Jerusalem with almost around 75% unemployment rate in women sector in East Jerusalem. And we said, let's try this experiment, announce about urban beekeeper for women in East Jerusalem. And we didn't even have that much money in order to run this. And we just started, and we received 100 applications in 2 weeks. And I was like shocked, really. I don't think they want really to save bees at that time, those women. They just want to have honey and money. And from there, it's a snowballing. It's like, it has to do with, it has an environmental impact, because those women, they got to urban farming courses after, they finished the bees course. So they started to do bees planting around the hive. So it's an indirect, they have green roofs. At the same time, they have some honey and money. So it's a kind of an economic, and it's a kind of woman empowerment. At the same time, revitalizing the idea of using the roofs in our heritage in the past, in those areas, Mediterranean areas. We used to sleep in 100 years ago, we used to sleep in summertime on the roofs. So nobody was using those roofs for the last, let's say, couple of decades now. And we have to revitalize those neglected spaces. That's why I call it even placemaking, but different tools. Bees, one of the tools with the women's sector. Urban farming, it's another tool as well that you use. So it's a multi-dimensional impact, Hannah. It's not really one dimension. It's not only environment. It's like 3 or 4 dimensions at the same time. So yeah, we have 150 women beekeeper, and we started to do this We give courses to all over Arab Israel, all over Israel really. And one of the beautiful projects I love with you actually, with women in Rahat, Bedouins,
Yeah.
they have their own hives. And I was shocked how the taste of the honey in the Negev, it's beautiful, it's very strong. And I think working with women as well in the Negev, it was really it has a lot of potential. I think they're much stronger than women in cities in a way. I don't know. This is what I felt.
It's a good
They have more
observation. It's an
passion.
interesting observation.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely the honey project together that around it we met is an amazing one, and I think it has a wonderful potential. And the fact that you're spreading it around the countries, especially in Arab villages where the need for women empowerment and increasing the rate of employment is much more a burning issue. Can you tell us about another type of placemaking that you've done?
We found while we were building Sinsila, because Sinsila as a model, it was built with the community through different courses, even on the physical places that we created in Sinsila 1 and Sinsila 2. We have 2 branches right now in East Jerusalem, and hopefully one day we will have Sinsila and Rahat as well. This is what I'm really looking for.
I hope so.
We found that there is a huge lack of the green jobs sphere in Arab sector. So it was an idea. Okay, maybe we need to focus on work and hope and green jobs sphere. So we started this 2 years ago. How we built curriculums from scratch. We learned a lot from other cases as well, and now we are teaching the green jobs sphere. So we have youth, even youth at risk. We did work with them to teach them how to become a freelance, or they can join Yazamim in, for example, in urban farming. So they can make money from this. Or even art and carpentry, or even the gag solari, the solar panels right now. This is something we have been working on for the last year. How many service providers from Arab sector, they have the capacity and the capability of passing those courses in the future for schools, or for even as a career for them. So this is something that we are focusing on for the last 2 years, which is linking. It's a design thinking approach, Anna, to be honest. We cannot just enter the community and we tell them we need to focus on environment. But if we link environment and jobs and creating opportunities for income, this is, I think, it's a very win-win-win situation, let's say. So this is really what we're focusing on. Placemaking, I think it's a tool at the end. It's something I have been part of the Tuchnit Chomish, like the 5 years plan of building in East Jerusalem, which is a little bit on hold now after the war.
So the 5-year plan is a funding plan that the government was trying to close the gap, the financial gap that the Arab sector was in, that they didn't get money, and was creating 5-year plan for funding a lot of projects in the Arab sector.
That's true. In many different fields, let's say education, employment, jobs, and one of them, it was a small perek that I think I was lucky that I convinced the Misrad Yerushalayim, Misrad Otsar to put this small perek, which is placemaking, and I think they were really open-minded to, okay, classical technoon important, but maybe we need another short-term interventions in urban areas in Arab sector, which is placemaking. Imagine if you have hundreds of placemaking in each city in Arab society in Israel. You don't have to wait till the classical technoon will solve the issues. You can do fast facts on the grounds for changing people's daily life. Adding community gardens in those corners, green roofs, open public spaces, small projects, you change the whole picture in a way. So yeah, it's still on hold, unfortunately, but hopefully it will come back, it's the ashur the taktib, but still now it's just in the process. Hopefully it will come back to do, we're talking about, I think, 60 placemaking in East Jerusalem in this pilot.
Amazing. So I have to ask you, and I'm sorry to be I don't know, bursting the bubble, because everything that you're describing sounds amazing. And I know from firsthand that it is really amazing, but I assume that it's not that easy. I know from all levels of work that working with, you said you had hundred of applicants for the B course, but working with community and especially with the Arab sector is not so easy, and having people over for placemaking is not always so easy. I assume that working with the municipality is not always that easy, if I'm being very subtle. So can you describe some of the challenges that you're facing?
I think there's different levels of challenges. I'm gonna try to make it like categorized. So we have the community challenges. You cannot talk to the community with your language. You need to talk to them with their language first. So you don't come tell them sustainability and Keyamut and it's something important. No, you tell them honey and money. It's a design thinking approach. You try to find the real problems in order to find the real solutions. Otherwise, your solution's not going to work on a fake problem, let's say, or a shallow problem. So working with the community, it's very challenging. You need to be very sensitive with them, talking to them, the way you talk to them. You need to talk even their language. And it's a snowballing. You need to do it like gradually. Otherwise, you will fail with them, because working with the community, you need to dance between the lines. Let's say some stuff, especially in East Jerusalem, you need to find which is things that has let's say high risk of the whole project, for example, or medium risk. So you need to think about all those indicators and elements that might damage the project itself. While we're building Sinsila, it was very sensitive for me to think about all details all the time. Logos, branding, the language, all these. In East Jerusalem, this is different than Rahat or than Nazareth or other areas in Israel. But I think I heard it from friends from Germany. They told me that if guys, you succeeded to do it in Jerusalem, it can be duplicated anywhere in the world, because it's the most challenging city in a way, with all aspects, let's say. So this is one of the challenges.
Yeah, before you move on to the next challenge, just I have to ask, were you considered by the people as part of the community or as part of the system? Because I know there's a lot of lack of trust in the system. So I was wondering because you're local, so in a way you're part of the community, but you're also in a way part of the system.
We are located in public buildings. Sinsila 1 and Sinsila 2, we're located in the public library in Jerusalem, which is a municipal building. And the second branch is located in the Mרכז לחדשנות, the Innovation Center, which it's a municipal building as well. I can say we are gam v'gam. We are part of the system at the same time. We are a community-based project, this is a challenge by itself, Anna, just to let you know. Like, to be part inside a municipal building and part of the system at the same time, to work in East Jerusalem, which is a very political area, especially the community. So you need to build a trust with individuals. Individuals in East Jerusalem, they will fight for you. If somebody will talk about you, they will fight. So they are the agents of supporting the idea, because the idea didn't come from top to the bottom. It comes from bottom up approach, but at the same time thinking about the top approach as well, which is very challenging. I was like, all the time, I'm a salsa dancer, and I was like, while building Sinsila, I think I was dancing all the time. Not just a real physical dancing, dancing to think about all these details, which might affect and which might not affect. So this is one of the challenges, I think, which is, the politica from both sides as well. You need to think about it within the system itself as well. Because I work as a freelance for planning as well, besides Sinsila, this is something that has to do with tough topic in East Jerusalem. Another, I think, challenges that I faced, I think, capacity building. Most of our, I think it has a positive side. I cannot say it's a negative side. Most of our teachers building Sinsila with the community, they were like Jewish, which is has a positive side. Like to meet the other side, for especially East Jerusalem, East Jerusalemites meeting Jewish, talking to them, and then you're like, so it's a kind of a dialogue, but not a real. It's not talking about peace. It's talking about topics, which is urban farming, wax, bees, all these things, which like it makes some bridging. So this is one of the good side of it. But the second, the bad, the worst thing for me, it was like we need urban farmers. We need people from Arab sector to teach those courses. We need people to teach bees. So now we have Zahiyya, which is like a version of a version, which she has her own even like a approach of bees. She's a student of Yossi. Now she's teaching. Hopefully
She is the woman that was in your first course.
That's true. 2019. Now she's the bees expert that gives courses.
And she's coming to Rahat to teach the women in Rahat.
That's true. And hopefully in Rahat you will have your own teachers that they will pass and they continue. So this is capacity building. It's a challenge, different topics. To convince youth to work in green jobs sphere instead of going to work in Nikayon or Shibutzim. It's a challenging as well. So yeah, it's a lot of challenges on it. I think I got a lot of white hair just building Sinsila for the last 5 years.
But tell me, do you feel like after all these years that you've been doing it, are people already ready to hear the word sustainability? Or is it still honey money and jobs? I mean, is it okay to start talking about Stedama? Keyamot?
I think still they're not ready, even though it's been almost 5 years and a half building Sinsila with the community. We used honey and money, urban farming, farming production. The terminology is different. Compost, but not compost because of the Keyamot or sustainability. Compost because you can grow vegetables, so you get more, vegetables. So it's food. I think it's a long process on that. Sustainability, it's not on the community's priorities and their life. When you have a very low socioeconomic situation in Arab sector in general, and in East Jerusalem in particular, let's say, you cannot talk to them about sustainability. You can talk to them about jobs, which is related to sustainability, but you don't have to be directed to sustainability. So it's a long term, not ready.
Yeah. But how big is this cycle of people you're working with? I mean, how many people do you feel like you've touched through these years?
I think we're talking about
dozens, hundreds, thousands.
No, thousands for sure, thousands. We did a lot of topics, workshops, courses, festivals. Many layers. Different community sectors target different community sectors while we're building Sinsila. But I think thousands still not enough.
And there's so much to do.
Yes.
Can you tell me can you describe what's your vision? Where are you going with this?
Sinsila as a model reached to 75% self-sustain, which is you keep 25% for new ideas, for philanthropic part. When you take the model and you apply it in Taiba, or you apply it in Nazareth, or you take the model and you apply it in Rahat, which is, like in the Negev. So I think the model, it will be duplicated. Here, I think the vision of Sinsila, it's a model that you can take it to anywhere in the world, not just in Israel, because we have in the whole global south and the earth, they are suffering of urban informalities and urban dense areas, the whole global south. So here, I think it's a new theories of urban planning and urban interventions, let's say. Not really classical urban planning. It's more urban interventions, short and medium-term interventions. Create jobs at the same time you create physical interventions in the cities. So yeah, we need to duplicate it more and more and more.
So basically, you're doing it. It's not like going somewhere and then visioning somewhere far. You're doing the dream, but you just need to do more. That's amazing.
That's true. That's true, Anat. I think we're doing it right now. We're spreading, the Sinsila as a model. I want to take Sinsila to New York even, because I had a lot of groups that are coming from New York. Sinsila, we hosted many hundreds, maybe thousands of visitors from international community the last 5 years. The last 2 years, because of the war, it's a little bit less, but before that, it was like every week we have 2 to 3 groups coming, either international or local, to visit Sinsila as a social entrepreneur, which is a model that, and I heard this a lot even from New York. They want to have Sinsila in New York, like to have this layer and different, like tool that you can use in the cities. So I think, this is something. When the people they talk to me, I was like, architect, what are you doing? I was like, it's not really architect, like, like we have a vision here. We're talking about really healing cities. And architects, they're not gods anymore, Anat. So we need to think about finding solutions from the community to the community. And maybe you change some stuff if you duplicate it to other areas. For example, in Africa, you don't have maybe to work with bees. You will work with other topics or other tools, let's say, in order to enhance green roofs, for example, or to enhance placemaking on the ground level. So this is the vision. I don't know if I answered your question, but I think, sometimes the vision even will be adapted and adjusted while you're working.
First of all, you answered my question very accurately, but I just have to say, just have to ask, do you think, Sinsila, you say you want to duplicate it, but do you think there's something that is more East Jerusalemite or more Arab? I mean, do you think Sinsila as it is good solution for other Arab sectors, or do you think it's very specific to the situation? Because I'm wondering if people that are watching, they want to do this, and they're not they're not architects. How can they do it? What can they do to make more of it?
I think Sinsila it's not just for Arabs. I think Sinsila can duplicate even in Israeli cities, for sure.
Jewish cities.
Yes, absolutely. I heard this from many Jewish friends as well, by the way. Even groups that they came from the local level, which is Israeli Jew, they came to Sinsila a lot, for the last couple, like 5 years. And they asked me, why you don't work in Meravire first, with West Jerusalem? Why you don't work in Israeli cities? Why you don't work in Tel Aviv? It's like, it's going to be different tools. It will be duplicated in a different way, but you need an initiator. You need local initiator first. So because you need to find the local sustainable solutions for each specific area as well. For example, community gardens, it didn't work in East Jerusalem as a concept. Even in West Jerusalem, it's very hard to keep working because it's a Western, let's say, approach or projects. Maybe we need to find other solutions. Maybe we link it to, in East Jerusalem, I link it to jobs and economic, for example, projects. Mushroom, bees, all these ideas that you can bring money or jobs for youth. So duplicated, I think it's for not just for Arabs, for all. The second question you ask, many articles that have been written about Sinsila, and I'm all the time. We had a lot of students, master students coming from all over. Like they do a lot of interviews and researches about Sinsila. So it will be duplicated more and more and more, but just a matter of time, I think, on their own.
Amazing. What other insight that you want to add for the end? Something for the listeners to go home with for the rest of their day.
I was studying in Germany when I heard about the stabbing phenomenon. An East Jerusalemites trying to stab an Israeli, 2014, 2015. It hurts me. And then when I came back, I found that we have a lot of talkers, but very few doers in Arab sector. So what we need really action is more than hope, because when you act, hope will follow. So we just need action. Keep trying, never giving up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tariq. It was fascinating. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Anat.